Dear Eliana, ladies and gentlemen, Eliana is a waitress in Ocean City. And I feel motivated to tell my story to her for her benefit and the benefit of her good boyfriend of 2 years. I was in Florida and I felt motivated to come to New Jersey for about 3 months. I am on a very tight fixed income. Um, it feels embarrassing sometimes because I don't really have much of an income, but I'm told in the scriptures, don't worry about what you're going to eat or drink or what the clothes you're going to put on. So, for Eliana, this is a very difficult thing. I am literally using you and your boyfriend as an audience to tell my story in a way that I can share with others as well. Because when I came up here to New Jersey, I spent some time with my friend Adrian, who is an encouragement to me and a good friend. Um, and I have to do these dialysis treatments, and I've got some complicated friends and family up here who sometimes are not very nice to me. And I mean, I don't have hate for anybody, but sometimes I go through some pretty difficult things because people think I'm weird or insane, or the way I live my life is inappropriate. And so when I came up here, Adrian said, hey, you know what? I really feel like we should just take tomorrow and go to Ocean City because that really means a lot to you. We should go to Ocean City, we should grab some Johnson's popcorn, and we should just do something that makes you feel satisfied because you really love Ocean City. So we came to Ocean City. We went to Luigi's restaurant for the first time. I mean, literally, it was around the corner from my house when I was a little child. I never went into that restaurant. And the meal that we had also brought us the friendship of Eliana, who is a very insightful person and who also is interested in cultivating hemp, which is one of the greatest plants that on the earth. And so we had a pleasant conversation, and I have been sending good energy to her and her boyfriend, and just the standard day-to-day struggles of life. And I've decided to use Eliana as as my invisible audience. This is my father's world, and to my listening ears, all nature sings, and around me rings the music of the spheres. Okay, so I'm going to begin this story by declaring one thing. I got an education. God gave me an education late in life. Now, this is not going to be some like heavy-duty spiritual religious thing, because this is about gutsy discovery and living a great life. I didn't live a great life. I lived 40 years. I lived 40 years very unwise. But I had lots of marvelous travel. I had lots of wonderful things. I walked the streets of Russia when I was 16 years old. I toured Europe on trains when I was 23. I lived in San Francisco for 4 years. I traveled many, many, many times to New Orleans and southern Louisiana. And my parents were servants of the poor and psychology professionals. So I kind of grew up in the caring for souls corner of the tribe. Even my mother says that for 5 generations, all of my people were teachers, all the way back to a one-room schoolhouse. My grandfather was the superintendent of schools of Summers Point, and he created this amazing program at the Magnolia School in New Orleans for handicapped people and people with emotional disabilities. So I come from like the counseling corner of the tribe. And in 1993, I got an education. I got an education on handling the male body and the female body, that caused me to be furious because I just felt like it was just darn wrong that I had not gotten this training when I was somewhere between whatever 6, 8, 13 years old. This is a training for the physiology and the feel good of the body and keeping it dominated and under control in a marvelous way, in an excellent way that benefits the whole family. So the first education that I got was this education with the body. Now, let's see, how do we do this? I don't know if this is going to work out properly. Oh, man. Phew. Okay. All right, well, I guess maybe I can call this part one. That's part one, the introduction. I got two forms of education. Now, in the Grandpa Honesty information, where I'm always saying we are going to talk about sex and we're going to talk about spirit beings, because the physiology of our family is different. The woman form is different than the man form, and both of them are fascinating. And in the scriptural atmosphere, there's a word. It says, Genesis 2:25, they were naked and not ashamed. So there was a season of human reality where there was no covering, and there was a peace with just the physiological nakedness. I often like to say, why do we go to a zoo? We go to a zoo to observe fascinating animals doing interesting things. Now, one of the realities of life is the realities of pictures, images. And then there's moving pictures and moving images, movies and videos. The image of the naked human form is wonderful and fascinating. And the picture of the naked human form, excited and enjoying the feel good of the body, that is a truly fascinating thing to make an image of. So it's no wonder that they talk about the oldest profession. The oldest profession is satisfying the desire of the male human being who has a body that definitely interrupts you and sort of demands attention. So the oldest profession is called the satisfying of the male human body. And this is just a life reality. I mean, we all have organs. Here's an ear. There's a liver. There's a kidney. My kidneys have failed. I sit next to a dialysis machine. But I was not given any discussion about the marvelous feel-good parts of the body that we share when I was a child at all. I was not given any cheerful, happy descriptions of how marvelous, wonderful, etc., etc., and I was not given any coaching on dominance, self-control, reality, truth about all these things. And it wasn't until I was 36 years old that I bumped into a wise, wonderful, grandfatherly person who cheerfully talked about the natural human ways of enjoying the feel good of the body, for the man and the woman both, as just an ordinary part of life. Now, I was raised with people who claim to know God and all these, eternal things. And if they never talked with me as a child about a thing that they personally know is downright wonderful and feels marvelous, if they didn't have any realistic conversations with me, then I feel like they weren't being honest. They actually were not being totally open-hearted with me as a child. I didn't get training on something that is really essential and really powerful and really important. So, as a gift to you, Eliana, and your man, I don't want you guys to go through the suffering that I went through for about 40 years because of a lack of understanding. And this is actually the beginning part of my story of connecting with the spirit realm and the afterlife and understanding the operations of spirit beings began with wisdom about the physiology. That's really fun. So if you don't want to hear about wisdom about physical physiology, then tune out and don't listen to anything that I have to say. But I'm going to be sharing with you some basic things, just in case you don't know these things, for your own benefit, for your own success and good future, so that you are at peace with, your closest person and with your family and community around you. That will be part one.